Hi guys, it's Miss Prickett. This morning we're going to look at page 252 in your math textbook. This is from lesson 6 in chapter 6 on comparing fractions. And so we're going to look at numbers 19 through 24 on page 252 and complete that page. So a group of students, for number 19, a group of students ate 5/12 of a large pepperoni pizza and 8/10 of a large cheese pizza. Did they eat more pepperoni pizza or cheese pizza? So if what I can do is I can look at my benchmark of 1/2, and I know that 6/12 equals 1/2. I also know that 5/10 equals 1/2. So I know that 5/12 is less than 1/2. And I know that 8/10 is greater than 1/2. And so because I know this, I can say that 5/12 is less than 8/10, which means that they ate more cheese pizza. And so that's how they're wanting you to compare those fractions using those benchmarks. But if you want to use the website that I gave you where you can use the interactive fraction strips, that is fine also. Because again, you will be exposed to this again in 5th grade and get more in-depth training on that. So number 20, Tim ran 4/8 of a mile, and I know immediately that this is the same as a half. This is a half mile. Lucy ran 7/10 of a mile. Okay, I know that 5/10 equals 1/2. So which one of these numbers is larger? Well, 7/10 is more than 1/2, and so Lucy ran farther. Your hot question here, which is the high order thinking question, is what's the question? And this is where they give you the answer and then you come up with a question. And you just get to make that up. And so anything that makes sense is fine. So my possible question might be, Selena ran 7/8 of a mile. Manny ran 5/10 of a mile. Who ran farther? There you go. And as long as your fraction that you use for Selena is greater than the fraction you use for how far Manny ran, then you have done that correctly. Okay? Number 22. Mary made a small pan of ziti and a small pan of lasagna. She cut the ziti into 8 equal parts and the lasagna into 9 equal parts. Her family ate 2/3 of the lasagna. If her family ate more lasagna than ziti, what fraction of the ziti could have been eaten? Okay, so this one can be a little bit different because you can have multiple answers for this, okay? So if she cut the ziti into 8 equal parts and her family ate 2/3 of that, if we compare 2/3 to 1/2, then I know that 2/3 is greater than 1/2. This would be a great one to use fraction strips with, guys. So that would just make that a lot easier, and that's why this is one of those harder problems to do. So one of your possible answers could be if we're dividing this into 8 equal parts, we can draw a hole here, and we can draw a hole here. And it's a little bit more difficult. It's really easy to divide this into 8 parts because we just divide that in half, and then we divide it in half, and then we divide it in half again, each one of those, and I get 8s, okay? If I do 9ths, they've got to be a little bit smaller, and it's harder to get those more accurate, or as accurate, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so, then we have to have one that's divided into thirds that's the same size. So thirds would be, and you try to get that as close to 3 equal pieces as you can. And you could go ahead and shade in 2/3, which would look like that. And that's how much of the lasagna they ate. So they ate, we could just shade this in so that it matches this line here. Okay? And so if they ate 2/3 of this, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ninths. Would be the same as 2/3. She cut the ziti into 8 equal parts. So what fraction of the ziti could have been eaten? Well, this could be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. So any of those. So 1/8 through 4/8 is our acceptable answer. So you can choose 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, or 4/8 to show that. Okay. Number 23. What's the error? Tom has 2 pieces of wood to build a birdhouse. One piece is 3/4 yard long. The other piece is 4/8 of a yard long. Tom says both pieces of wood are the same. So why would he be wrong about that? Well, one of the first things that I noticed is that 4/8 equals 1/2. And 3/4 does not equal 1/2, okay? In order for this to be 1/2, it would have to be 2/4 is a half. And so 4/8 and 2/4 would be equal. But because I know that 2/4 equals 1/2, 3/4 is greater than 4/8, okay? So his error would be that the pieces are not the same length. And then your explanation would be that 4/8 equals 1/2 and 3/4 is greater than 1/2. So 3/4 is greater than 4/8. Okay? There is your explanation for number 23. All right, your last one is number 24. It's a test prep question. Todd is using the benchmark 1/2 to compare fractions. Which statement is not correct? Okay, I see 5/6 is less than 1/2. Okay, I know that 3/6 equals 1/2. So 5/6 is greater than 1/2. Okay, so I already know that A is incorrect. And I don't even have to go any further than that. This statement here, 5/6 is greater than 1/2, which is what we just said here. 3/6 is exactly equal to 1/2, and 5/6 does not equal 1/2, which would also be true. So This statement here, we're looking at greater than or less than. So your answer here would be 8. Okay? Good job. And if you have any questions, let me know.